Good morning, all of you. In the last period, we have discussed about some examples of physical and chemical change. Now, today we will see in detail now physical and chemical change. Then you see a physical change takes place due to change in the parameters such as temperature and pressure. As already we have seen that in physical change, if there is a change in the parameters like temperature and pressure, then in that condition only we are having the physical change. Often a physical change is a reversible process. Reversible process means that same product can obtain again. Okay, for example, if you take the example of water converted into water converted into solid, that is ice. So the ice also can be changed into water, okay, after heating. So that is a reversible process. Okay, again it can be changed, reversible. So the composition of matter remains same in a physical change. Okay, so the composition of matter remains the same in a physical change. Okay, just now in the case of solid, that is ice, the substances having the same composition. Now, for example, ice is transformed into water on heating, and water is transformed into ice on cooling. So this is, you see, the reversible process is there. Okay, first ice is transformed when we are heating into water, then again water is transferred into ice by cooling. So this is the best example of physical change. On the contrary, if the composition of matter changes during a process, then it is called a chemical change. So in some other cases, the composition is changing. Okay, so that what is happening, then that type of change is called as a chemical change. In the example we have seen, for example, if you are cooking the food, so you see whatever we are taking the composition or the substances initially, so they are changing after cooking. So that is the best example of a chemical change. When we call a particular process or phenomena as a chemical change, some chemical reactions are taking place in the concerned matter. Now, a chemical reaction, any reaction you take, okay, a chemical reaction is a process in which some substances undergoes bond breaking and are transformed into new substances by formation of new bonds. Already we have seen two types of bondings are there in the chemical reactions. One is the covalent bonds or covalent bonding, and another is ionic bonding. We know that in this ionic bonding, the sharing of electrons are there, and in the covalent bond, transfer of electrons are there. So the substances taking part in chemical reactions are called reactants. So we will see in the next page which substances are called reactants and which substances are called products. So whereas the substance formed as a result of a chemical reaction by formation of new bonds are called products. For example, formation of carbon dioxide gas by the combustion of coal in air is a chemical reaction. In this reaction, coal, or that is carbon, and oxygen from air are the reactants, while carbon dioxide is the product. So in this, when there is a reaction between coal and oxygens, so we are getting the carbon dioxide as a product. A chemical reaction is represented by writing a chemical equation. So whenever if you want to represent a chemical reaction, so we are writing a chemical equation. Now you see here chemical equations. What is a chemical equation? Now let us first look at a chemical reaction in the activity 2. So generally we have seen in the activity 5 activity we have seen in the previous period. So if they consider the activity 2, what was that? A colorless solution of zinc sulfate is formed on addition of zinc dust to the blue solution of copper sulfate. This chemical reaction can be written in brief as follows. So if you want to write this reaction in the equation form, so I will write aqueous solution of copper sulfate plus zinc dust, that leads to aqueous solution of zinc sulfate plus copper. So when there is a reaction between copper sulfate and zinc, no, so we are getting zinc sulfate, okay, zinc sulfate, and copper is comes out of this, okay. So this simple way of representing chemical equation is called is called a word equation. So for example, I am writing this whole words, okay, copper sulfate, aqueous sulfate, aqueous solution of copper sulfate with zinc dust, okay. So we are getting aqueous solution of zinc sulfate plus copper. But if we want to write a word equation, can be written in further condensed form by using chemical formula as follows. For example, if you want to write short form of this, so copper sulfate, instead of writing this whole sentence, I am writing CuSO4. Okay, these are the symbol of this copper, and this that sulfate, SO4 is sulfate plus zinc, and that is zinc sulfate plus copper. So this is the condensed form of this. Okay, so the representation of a chemical reaction is a condensed form using chemical formula is called as the chemical equation. What is a chemical equation? The representation of a chemical reaction in the condensed form using chemical formula is called as the chemical equation. In the above equation, copper sulfate and zinc are the reactants. So these are the reactants, okay, and these are the product. So, and we know that the reactants are always written on the left side, and the products are always written on the right side. So they react with each other to form copper particles, that is, and a solution of the colorless zinc sulfate as the product, having totally different properties. So these products are having total different properties in than the reactants. So the ionic bond in the reaction copper sulfate breaks, and the ionic bond in the product, that is zinc sulfate, is formed during the reaction. So we'll stop here. Thank you.